My friend, there comes a moment when heaven begins to whisper to the earth, it has begun. A shift, unseen yet undeniable, starts to unfold. You may not hear thunder, you may not feel the earth move, but deep within, your spirit senses it. Something big is moving in your favor. You see, every visible change begins in the invisible. Long before the door opens, the hinges begin to move. Long before the light breaks through, the dawn has already started to rise. The universe responds not to your need, but to your belief. And right now, God is responding to your faith. You might say, but nothing looks different. That's all right. When the seed is under the soil, it looks buried, not planted. Yet beneath that darkness, life is pushing upward. The silence is not the absence of movement, it is the evidence of divine preparation. Something is shifting. What was once blocked is clearing. What seemed impossible is aligning. The favor of God is quietly rearranging circumstances, touching hearts, moving resources, and setting the stage for your breakthrough. You may not see the details, but God is weaving the threads of your destiny behind the curtain. While you are waiting, heaven is working. While you are resting, grace is arranging. Do not be discouraged by delay. Delay is not denial, it is divine timing, ripening. You are entering a season where what resisted you will start working for you. The very winds that once opposed you will now carry you forward. You see, faith is not waiting for proof. It is standing in conviction that proof is coming. Your inner conversation, what you whisper to yourself in quiet moments, is shaping the outer world you will soon walk into. So speak life, speak favor, speak completion. Say to yourself, something good is happening for me now. God is making a way where there was no way. Everything is aligning in my favor. These are not empty affirmations. They are seeds of creative power. The moment you accept them as truth, heaven begins to orchestrate their fulfillment. The shift has started. The favor has been released. You are being positioned for the miraculous. So stand still and know. What is yours cannot be taken. What God has spoken cannot be silenced. And what has begun in the spirit will soon be seen in the natural. God is making a way for you even now. Even when the outer world appears still, when your life seems caught between what was and what is yet to come, something powerful is already in motion beneath the surface. The invisible movement has begun. You may not see it, you may not feel it, and it may not announce itself with signs or sounds, but in the unseen realm, forces are rearranging themselves for your good. What you think is silence is not silence at all. It is the soft hum of divine activity, the quiet turning of a hidden wheel that will soon manifest in visible change. Life always begins in the unseen. Every tree was once an invisible pattern of life, contained in a tiny seed. Every destiny begins as an unseen thought, a whisper within your imagination. Before the world ever sees your transformation, heaven sees it first. And right now, heaven is aware that a shift has started for you. The invisible realm, the place where God works, where thoughts take form and faith finds substance, is alive with movement. God does not need to show you the process to prove He is working. He simply asks that you trust the unseen currents that are already flowing in your favor. Often the human mind wants evidence. We look for signs, for doors opening, for sudden changes that we can touch or measure. But the greatest moves of God rarely begin with noise. They begin with stillness. It is in the stillness that creation begins to breathe. It is in the quiet that divine order starts to align. When nothing seems to be happening, when everything feels delayed or denied, that is often when the most profound work is taking place. The soil of your life is being turned over. The foundation beneath your feet is being strengthened to hold the weight of the blessing that's coming. You may be standing in a season that feels uneventful, but it is not empty. You are standing in the beginning of something sacred. The invisible movement of God is like the unseen tide pulling back before the wave surges forward. What feels like retreat is actually preparation. What feels like delay is alignment. There are moments when heaven must rearrange people, opportunities, and even your own mindset before the visible manifestation can come into view. And when the timing is right, it will look sudden, but it won't be sudden at all. It will be the visible result of the invisible movement that has been building all along. So do not mistake the quiet for inactivity. Do not misinterpret waiting as nothingness. The silence is holy. It is the sound of destiny being formed behind the curtain of time. Something powerful is unfolding for you even now. Conversations being guided, hearts being stirred, doors being prepared to open. You may not yet see the evidence, but the movement has begun. The shift is already underway. Stay in faith, stay in gratitude, and keep your inner world aligned with the vision you hold. For soon, what was invisible will become undeniable. Faith is not a reaction to what you see. It is the inner knowing that what you believe is already real, even before it appears. When you truly understand faith, you realize that you no longer wait for proof. You become the proof. Faith is the bridge between the unseen and the seen, the spiritual and the material, the promise and its fulfillment. It is the quiet confidence that what God has spoken into your heart already exists in another dimension of reality, and your belief is the doorway through which it enters your life. Many people live waiting for signs before they believe. They say, "I'll trust when I see it." But faith reverses that order. Faith says, "I see it because I trust." The world teaches that evidence comes first, then belief follows. But the laws of the Spirit operate differently. Belief comes first, and evidence must follow. When you believe deeply, you set something powerful in motion. Heaven recognizes conviction. You set conviction. The moment you stand firm in your inner vision, the universe begins to rearrange itself to match that conviction. The outer world is not fixed, it is fluid, responding to the unseen energy of your faith. Faith is not pretending that everything is fine, it is perceiving that everything is already being made fine. It is the awareness that beyond what your eyes can see, divine intelligence is already working. You might not yet see the door open, but faith feels the handle turning. You might not yet see the promise fulfilled, but faith knows it is already written in eternity. Faith carries a calm authority. It does not beg, it does not panic. It simply knows. It says, "Though I don't see it yet, I already have it." That knowing is the evidence. That assurance is the shift itself. When you believe without needing proof, you align yourself with the creative power of God. You stop fighting the current and start flowing with it. You no longer chase outcomes, you attract them by the strength of your certainty. Faith transforms waiting into preparation. You no longer wait in anxiety, you wait in expectation. You no longer look for signs of hope, you radiate hope, and life mirrors it back to you. The moment you decide to believe, the shift is activated. Things begin to move around you, often invisibly, to support that belief. People appear, opportunities arise, circumstances bend. Not because you forced them, but because your faith gave them permission to exist. Every great transformation begins with a single act of belief. Faith does not need evidence, because faith is the evidence. It is the invisible confirmation that what you desire is already yours. When you hold that vibration long enough, the outer world must conform to it. What was unseen becomes visible. What was intangible becomes touchable. Faith precedes manifestation because it is the substance from which manifestation is born. So if you're wondering whether the shift has truly begun, look no further than your own heart. The moment you believed, it started. Your faith is the proof that something divine has already been set in motion on your behalf. There are moments in life when everything seems to pause. When familiar paths close, people drift away, and doors you once depended on suddenly shut. It can feel like confusion, like loss, like nothing is working. But what if that very disruption is evidence that something divine is unfolding? What if God is not taking things from you, but rather rearranging them for your good? This is the mystery of divine alignment. When you hold a vision in faith, when your inner conviction becomes clear and unwavering, heaven begins to reorganize your outer world to reflect that inner reality. God moves quietly. His hand is often invisible but never inactive. Behind every delay, behind every shift, behind every unexpected encounter, there is design. You may not see the pattern yet, but you are standing in the middle of divine rearrangement. People are being moved into and out of your life according to purpose. Some must leave because their part in your story is complete. Others are being prepared to enter because they carry the keys to your next chapter. You might not understand every change now, but one day you'll look back and see how perfectly everything fit together. The divine rearrangement always begins when your inner world changes. When you stop doubting and start believing, when you decide that your new season has arrived, your conviction becomes a signal to the universe. It's as if heaven says, now we can move. The vibration of your faith begins to attract people and opportunities that match your new identity. You no longer resonate with the old, so the old begins to fall away. This is not punishment, it's preparation. God cannot bring the new while you're still holding on to what was. The moment you align internally, everything around you must align externally. Sometimes this rearrangement feels uncomfortable. You may not understand why things are shifting, why certain doors close without warning, or why you're being redirected down unfamiliar paths. But God's order rarely looks like human order. His rearrangement is intentional. He sees the full picture while you see only fragments. Trust that what seems like chaos is actually construction. The pieces are not falling apart. They are falling into place. You are being positioned for something greater. The connections that will bless you are being prepared. The places that will expand you are being revealed. The timing that once seemed delayed is now being divinely synchronized. God is aligning every detail with precision so that when your moment arrives, everything fits perfectly. So do not resist the rearrangement. Do not cling to what is leaving or mourn what no longer aligns. The shift is not happening to you, it's happening for you. Every closed door, every redirection, every unexpected change is a whisper from God saying, I'm making room for what's next. Stay in faith. Stay expectant. Soon you will see how every movement, every delay, and every detour was part of a greater plan to bring your inner conviction into full manifestation. The most powerful conversation you will ever have is not with another person, but with yourself. Every moment of your life, a dialogue is taking place within, the quiet stream of thoughts, affirmations, doubts, and imaginations that fill your inner world. This inner conversation is not meaningless chatter, it is the creative force shaping the reality you experience. The words you speak within determine the life you meet without. Your outer circumstances are not random, they are mirrors, reflecting the tone, belief, and emotional energy of your inner speech. We often underestimate how much our inner dialogue influences everything. You can pray with your lips but cancel it with your thoughts. You can declare blessings aloud yet hold conversations of fear and defeat inside. The universe does not respond to your words alone. It responds to the spirit behind them. What you continually affirm and emotionally accept within yourself becomes a command to creation. Life simply echoes what the soul believes to be true. This is why changing your inner language changes your outer experience. If you constantly think, nothing ever works out for me, life will obey that belief. Not because it is true in itself, but because it is the story you have chosen to repeat. Likewise, when you begin to affirm, everything is working in my favor, even before the evidence appears, you shift the vibration of your inner world, and soon the outer world begins to align with it. The key is consistency. Inner conversations are like seeds. One thought may not change much, but thoughts repeated with feeling take root and eventually bear fruit in your circumstances. Your imagination is the soil of creation. Every time you speak within, you are planting something, either faith or fear, victory or defeat, expansion or limitation. God designed you as a creative being, endowed with the ability to shape your world from within. He does not impose life upon you. He invites you to co-create it through your inner dialogue. The way you speak to yourself is the way the world will speak back to you. This is why awareness is so important. Begin to listen to what you're saying inside. Are your inner conversations filled with hope or with worry, with gratitude or complaint? When you catch yourself thinking thoughts of lack, pause and replace them with words of abundance. When you feel fear rising, counter it with inner declarations of peace and faith. Over time, your inner speech becomes your inner atmosphere, and your inner atmosphere becomes your outer reality. You are not waiting for life to change. You are training your inner voice to call forth a new version of it. The world outside you is simply the echo of what you continually whisper to yourself in secret. When your inner words align with faith, gratitude, and confidence, the universe cannot help but reflect that alignment back to you. So guard your inner speech carefully. Speak within as though your desired life is already true, and soon it will be. There comes a time in every journey when the familiar begins to fade, not because you failed, but because you've outgrown it. The season that once shaped you, stretched you, and sometimes even broke you begins to close. But it does not close in chaos or regret. It closes gracefully. What once resisted you is now releasing you. The very doors that stayed locked are beginning to open, not through struggle, but through divine timing. You are standing at the gentle threshold between what was and what is about to be, and though it may feel uncertain, this transition is sacred. Every season in life serves a purpose. The old one taught you endurance, faith, and patience. It revealed who you were when things didn't go your way. It refined you in silence and prepared you for the expansion that is now unfolding. For a long time, you may have felt as though nothing was moving, as though every effort met resistance. But what you didn't see was that resistance was not rejection, it was preparation. You were being molded, not denied. And now that process is complete. The season that once held you captive no longer has permission to define you. When divine timing arrives, release comes naturally. You don't have to force it or fight for it. People, habits, and situations that no longer align with your growth begin to fall away. The weight you carried starts to lift. Opportunities that once seemed impossible begin to present themselves effortlessly. This is not coincidence. It is alignment. God is unlocking doors that once remained shut because now you are ready to walk through them. The version of you that stands here today has earned access to what the old version could not handle. You may feel nostalgia for what's ending, and that's all right. Gratitude honors the closing of a chapter. But do not cling to what is leaving, for what departs is making room for what is destined to arrive. Seasons do not end to punish you, they end to position you. The divine rhythm of life never removes without replacing, never takes without preparing to restore greater. What feels like loss is actually liberation. You are being released from limitation and escorted into expansion. The transition may not be loud or dramatic. It may come quietly, like dawn breaking after a long night. But make no mistake, the shift is real. The doors that once denied you are being unlocked not by your strength, but by grace. God has gone before you to make the crooked places straight, to clear the path ahead, and to align the right people, timing, and opportunities with your purpose. So breathe deeply and allow the old to close in peace. You have completed that chapter. You have gathered the wisdom it offered. Now stand with faith and expectancy, for the new season is not coming. It has already begun. What once resisted you has released you, and the path ahead is opening under your feet. There comes a point in every divine process when your only task is to stand still, not because nothing is happening, but because everything is happening, just not where your eyes can see it. The movement is already underway. The pieces are shifting. The doors are being prepared. The hearts that need to open are being softened. God is completing what He began, and your role now is not to interfere, but to trust. Stillness is not inactivity, it is spiritual confidence. It is the quiet strength that says, I don't need to push because I know who's working on my behalf. So often, we mistake movement for progress. We rush to fix, to prove, to make things happen, afraid that if we pause, everything will fall apart. But faith requires a different posture. It asks you to rest in assurance, not in anxiety. It asks you to trust that the one who started the work is faithful to finish it. Standing still doesn't mean giving up. It means giving over. It means surrendering control while holding on to conviction. It means recognizing that your striving cannot accomplish what grace can accomplish. effortlessly. When you choose to stand still, you shift from force to flow. You stop trying to move the mountain and allow God to move it for you. You stop searching for signs and begin to become one. This stillness is not passive, it's powerful. It's the position of those who know that divine timing is never rushed. You understand that behind the curtain of your current reality, there is a perfect orchestration taking place. Heaven is aligning events, arranging meetings, and preparing circumstances that will confirm everything you've believed for. To stand still is to stand in expectation. Expectation is faith matured. It's not wishful thinking, it's confident anticipation. You expect favor because you know who you belong to. You expect blessings because you've sown belief. You expect doors to open because you have walked faithfully through the process of preparation. Standing still is your declaration that you trust God more than you trust appearances. Even when nothing seems to be shifting, you know the shift has already started in realms unseen. The temptation in waiting seasons is to doubt. Doubt whispers, nothing's happening, but faith replies, everything's happening. When you stand still in faith, you become immovable. Circumstances may shake, people may change, but your heart remains anchored. You rest, not because the journey is over, but because you know the outcome is secure. God is not a man that he should lie. What he spoke, he will fulfill. What he starts, he will complete. So stand still. Expect favor. Expect acceleration. Expect divine completion. The movement does not depend on your effort, it depends on your belief. Let peace be your position and trust be your strategy. In the stillness, God is finishing the work. The blessing is already on its way, and when it arrives, you will see that standing still was not waiting. It was preparation for the moment He was ready to reveal His promise in full. And so, my friend, as we come to the end of this message, remember, the shift has already begun. Even if your eyes cannot yet see it, heaven has moved on your behalf. The invisible is becoming visible. Faith has called things into alignment. Divine rearrangement is at work, and every detail of your life is being carefully ordered for your good. You are stepping out of the old season with grace and entering a new one, filled with favor, breakthrough, and peace. The resistance you once faced is no longer your reality. The doors that once denied you are opening, and what once felt delayed is now being delivered. Stand still and know that God is completing what He began. Your only task now is to believe, to hold the vision, speak the truth within, and walk forward in quiet confidence. Everything is working in your favor. The way is being made. The time is now. Thank you for taking this moment to listen, to believe, and to grow. May your heart remain anchored in faith, your mind filled with peace, and your life overflowing with evidence of God's unfailing goodness. The shift has started. Walk boldly into your new beginning. Thank you, and may blessings follow you wherever you go. Beloved, today I want you to hear a truth so powerful that it will change how you see yourself, your life, and the world around you. It's already done. Not someday, not maybe, not if you are worthy. It is already done because God has already moved everything in your favor. Too often, we look around at our circumstances and think, I'm still waiting, my blessing hasn't arrived. But I tell you this, what you see is not the measure of what is real. The measure of reality is your consciousness, the assumption you hold in your mind and heart. When you assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled, when you live from the end of your desire, the infinite intelligence aligns everything for you. Understand this. Your imagination is the workshop of God. Every vision, every desire, every dream you have is first placed within you as an image. That image is not a suggestion, it is a promise. And when you live in the assumption that it is already real, the world bends itself to manifest that inner truth outwardly. Do not be deceived by appearances. The world may try to tell you no, later, or not yet, but these are illusions. God has already moved in your favor. Doors are opening behind the scenes. Paths are clearing without your effort. Circumstances are rearranging themselves even before your conscious mind can recognize them. Your task is simple yet profound. Feel it now. See yourself living the life you desire. Speak as though it is already yours. Walk in faith and let the invisible create the visible. Gratitude is your key. Feel thankful for the manifestation before it comes. Praise what is already accomplished. In that state, you are one with the movement of God, and nothing can resist your assumption. Remember, the universe is not waiting for your permission. It has already acted. What you perceive as delay is merely the time it takes for your senses to catch up to your inner reality. Your faith, your assumption, your feeling. That is the power that makes all things visible. So stand tall, speak with confidence, live as if the doors are already open. Everything you desire, every blessing, every favor, every breakthrough, it is already done. God has already moved. You are only required to claim it within. And when you do, you will see the invisible turn into the visible, the impossible become possible, and your life align perfectly with the divine flow that has always been working on your behalf. Believe it, feel it, live it. It's already done. Everything you experience in life begins in the realm of imagination. The world that surrounds you is not the creator of your circumstances, rather, it is a reflection of the assumptions you carry within. What you assume to be true, what you believe without doubt in the secret chambers of your mind, inevitably becomes your outer reality. This is the law that governs all creation, your inner belief. The conviction you hold silently and firmly is the seed from which all outward manifestation grows. You cannot escape it, for it works whether you are aware of it or not. If you assume poverty, limitation, or struggle, these will be the fruits you reap. If you assume success, abundance, and favor, then these are the realities that will unfold around you. Your imagination is not merely a playground of fantasy. It is the workshop through which the infinite expresses itself. Every accomplishment, every joy, every blessing that has ever appeared in the world first existed in someone's mind as a living, vivid assumption. You must understand that the outer world is simply a mirror, reflecting back the inner convictions that you hold most deeply. When you assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled, when you live and think as though your desire is already realized, the invisible power behind all creation, call it God, Spirit, or infinite intelligence, bends reality to conform to your inner state. It is not enough to hope or wish. Hope is a weak reflection of desire. What matters is the unwavering assumption the deep-seated belief that your desire is already true. This assumption must be vivid, emotional, and tangible within your mind. You must feel the reality of what you desire as though it is already accomplished. The mind does not differentiate between the physical and the imagined when the imagination is lived and felt with conviction. There is substance and form identity. It accepts it as real and begins to draw circumstances, people, and events into alignment with that truth. Many fail because they allow their senses and outer circumstances to dictate their belief. They see lack, limitation, or delay, and they doubt the unseen. But the unseen is far more real than the seen. The world of imagination, when rightly directed, is the most potent reality there is. It is the seedbed from which all miracles grow. Your inner belief is sacred. It is the divine instrument that shapes your life. When you assume a new reality, when you inhabit it fully in your mind, the world is compelled to respond. The unseen becomes visible. The impossible becomes possible. And the life you have imagined comes forth. Understand this deeply. You are never at the mercy of circumstances. You are always the master of your own reality. By consciously assuming the truth of your desires, by holding them firmly in your mind and feeling them as already yours, you plant a seed that cannot fail. Your inner belief is the origin of all outward manifestation, the eternal source from which your life unfolds. Everything begins in your imagination, everything. To live in the end is to dwell in the reality of your desire as though it has already been accomplished. Most people make the mistake of looking outward, believing that circumstances must change before their dreams can be fulfilled. But the truth is the opposite. The outer world always conforms to the inner state. The future is not something that arrives from without. It is the natural product of the consciousness you occupy in the present moment. If you imagine the end, if you feel and live in the state of having already achieved your desire, then the universe has no choice but to rearrange itself to match that reality. Living in the end requires a shift in perception, a deliberate and conscious act of the imagination. It is not enough to hope or wish for something to happen someday. Hope looks outward and waits for the world to change. Living in the end looks inward and recognizes that all change originates within. The moment you assume the feeling of your desire fulfilled, you are placing yourself in the position of its inevitable manifestation. You are no longer a passive observer waiting for life to give you what you want. You are the creator, acting from the completed state. Your inner consciousness becomes the blueprint from which all events, circumstances, and experiences emerge. This practice requires discipline and faith. You must persist in the assumption of the end, regardless of what your senses reveal. The outer world may appear contrary, but appearances are only temporary illusions that reflect past assumptions. Your present state of consciousness determines the future, not the current appearance of reality. When you see yourself as already having what you desire, when you feel the emotions, joy, and satisfaction of its fulfillment, you are planting a seed in the unseen world. This seed cannot fail because it is conceived in the fertile soil of consciousness itself, which is the source of all creation. Living in the end also cultivates a sense of peace and certainty. There is no struggle when you know the outcome is already accomplished. Anxiety, doubt, and fear dissolve because they belong to a state of lack and you no longer occupy that state. You align yourself with the natural order of creation, where everything you imagine and feel as real must manifest. Your actions, thoughts, and words then flow effortlessly, guided by the inner knowledge that the end is already achieved. This alignment produces results that may seem miraculous to the untrained eye, yet they are perfectly natural expressions of a mind operating in harmony with the unseen power of creation. Remember, the future is not something to wait for, it is something to inhabit. By living in the end, you claim your desires now, and the outer world must follow. You are not asking, pleading, or negotiating with reality. You are assuming, knowing, and commanding it from the state of fulfillment. In this state, every thought, every feeling, and every action resonates with the certainty of accomplishment, and life responds accordingly. To live in the end is to realize that the world is a reflection of your consciousness, and when your consciousness dwells in the completion of your desires, nothing can prevent their manifestation. Your imagination is not a mere pastime of the mind, a fleeting escape into fantasies. It is the most powerful instrument you possess, the divine tool through which God, Spirit, or the Infinite expresses itself in the world. Everything that exists first passed through the imagination of someone. Every invention, every building, every act of kindness, every work of art, every moment of joy that has ever been known first existed in the mind before it manifested in the world. To understand this is to realize that your imagination is sacred, a bridge between the visible and the invisible, the finite and the infinite. When you use your imagination consciously, you are aligning with the creative force of the universe. Imagination is not bound by limitations of time, space, or circumstance. It is the realm where all possibilities exist simultaneously, where your desires can be fully formed and felt before they appear in the outer world. Most people, however, allow their imagination to wander aimlessly, feeding fears, doubts, and limitations. They imagine lack, failure, and disappointment, and the outer world dutifully reflects these images back to them. But when imagination is used deliberately and consciously, it becomes the instrument through which you shape reality itself. To use your imagination consciously is to enter a state of awareness where you see, feel, and act as though your desire is already fulfilled. It is to dwell in the scene of your wish fulfilled, experiencing it vividly and with emotion, so that the mind accepts it as real. This is the divine law of creation. Whatever you imagine and feel as true must manifest. Your imagination is God's workshop, and your feelings are the blueprint. When you impress your consciousness with the reality of your desire, you set in motion the forces that bring it into physical expression. Conscious use of imagination requires discipline, persistence, and faith. It requires that you take control of your mental images and not allow random thoughts or external circumstances to dominate your mind. Every image you hold, every feeling you entertain, and every assumption you persist in is a statement to the universe about what you accept as real. By consciously directing your imagination toward your highest good, toward the fulfillment of your desires, you become a co-creator with the divine. You no longer wait for life to happen to you. You participate in its creation actively and intentionally. Let this go. Your imagination is limitless. It is the playground of God within you. When you dwell in it with clarity, feeling, and certainty, you align yourself with the infinite intelligence that governs all things. The outer world becomes a reflection of your inner state, and miracles, opportunities, and blessings begin to manifest effortlessly. Imagination is not optional, it is the tool through which life itself is formed. The more consciously you wield it, the more powerfully you participate in your own creation. It is both your responsibility and your privilege to use it wisely. For in imagination lies the secret of all achievements, all transformations, and all miracles. Faith in the invisible is the cornerstone of all creation. What you see with your eyes is only a shadow, a temporary reflection of a reality far greater than the senses can perceive. The true world, the world of power, opportunity, and fulfillment, exists beyond what is immediately visible. It is unseen, eternal, and unchanging, and it is far more potent than anything your eyes can detect. To live in faith in the invisible is to place your trust in what is not yet apparent, to hold unveiling belief in the reality of your desires before the outer world confirms them. This is the law through which all miracles occur. Many people wait for evidence before they believe. They wait for circumstances to change, for opportunities to appear, or for problems to resolve before they allow themselves to feel hope, joy, or assurance. But this is the world upside down. The unseen must come first. The invisible forms the blueprint, and the visible merely follows. The very act of trusting what cannot yet be seen aligns your consciousness with the creative power of the universe. Your inner conviction, your faith in the reality of your desires, is the magnet that draws the unseen into manifestation. Without this faith, nothing materializes, for doubt and disbelief act as barriers, blocking the natural flow of creation. Faith in the invisible requires more than mere mental assent. It requires feeling. It is not enough to intellectually understand that your desire will be fulfilled. You must live as if it has already been accomplished. You must feel the joy, the satisfaction, the peace, and the certainty that come from knowing the end is already realized. The imagination, combined with feeling, is the vehicle through which the unseen is impressed upon reality. When you feel the reality of your desire in your inner world, the universe responds. Circumstances, events, and people adjust to reflect the state of consciousness you occupy. The invisible is eternal, limitless, and perfect, and it is far more powerful than anything seen. What appears to be lack, limitation, or delay is only temporary and superficial. These outer conditions do not determine your destiny. They reflect past assumptions. Faith in the invisible allows you to rise above appearances and occupy the state of fulfillment now. In doing so, you not only prepare the way for manifestation, but also experience peace and certainty in the present. There is no struggle in faith, there is only quiet assurance and steadfast knowing. To trust the unseen is to acknowledge that your life is not ruled by chance or circumstance, but by the creative law of consciousness. Every visible outcome is born from an unseen cause, and when you align your mind with this truth, your life transforms. The invisible reality is waiting to be recognized, to be accepted, and to be lived as true. Faith in the invisible is the bridge between desire and manifestation, between thought and form, between longing and fulfillment. When you embrace it fully, the unseen becomes inevitable, the impossible becomes possible, and your life unfolds in perfect alignment with your highest vision. Resistance is the greatest barrier to the manifestation of your desires. Most people spend their lives struggling against circumstances, fighting what appears to be a reality that opposes them. They see lack, delay, or difficulty, and their natural response is to resist, to push back, and to attempt to force change from the outside. But this struggle is futile. Circumstances are mere shadows, fleeting reflections of past assumptions and inner states. They have no ultimate power over you. Your true power lies in your inner consciousness, in the state you occupy within, for it is your inner state that shapes the outer world. To release resistance is to stop opposing what is and to align yourself with the unseen reality of your desire. When you resist, you give energy and attention to what you do not want. You argue with reality, complain about circumstances, and attempt to manipulate the outer world to conform to your desires. Yet all this does is strengthen the very conditions you are resisting. The law of consciousness works impartially. Whatever you focus on, whatever you feel with intensity, is impressed upon your reality. If you concentrate on struggle, lack, or difficulty, you reinforce their presence. But when you release resistance, when you stop struggling and accept the moment as it is, you create a vacuum in which the unseen can operate. In that space, the power of imagination and assumption moves freely to bring your desires into manifestation. To release resistance does not mean to ignore your desires or to become passive. On the contrary, it is a conscious act of faith. It is the decision to live in the feeling of your wish fulfilled, regardless of what your senses report. You assume the state of having already received, and in doing so you cease to argue with life. You stop fighting the shadows and begin to inhabit the reality you wish to see. This is the art of conscious creation. The outer world cannot resist the inner reality when the inner reality is fixed and unwavering. By occupying the end, you allow life to flow effortlessly toward your fulfillment. Resistance is rooted in disbelief, fear, and impatience. It is the sense that the world is hostile, that life is unfair, or that you must fight to get what you want. To release resistance, you must recognize that all apparent opposition is temporary and illusory. The universe is not against you, it is merely responding to your inner state. Change the inner state, and the outer world must follow. Let go of the struggle, let go of doubt, and surrender to the feeling of your desire accomplished. This surrender is not weakness. It is the greatest expression of strength, for it aligns you with the creative intelligence that governs all things. When resistance is released, life begins to flow effortlessly. Opportunities appear, circumstances shift, and people align themselves with your vision. You discover that the outer world has always been a mirror of your inner state, and that by changing your inner state, you change everything. The shadows dissolve, and the reality of your imagination becomes your experience. Release resistance, occupy the end, and watch the world conform to the fulfillment of your desires, for it is only the inner state that defines the life you live. Gratitude is the bridge between the invisible and the visible. It is the secret key that transforms desire into reality and makes the unseen inevitable. Most people wait to feel grateful until they have received what they want, but this is the backward way of creation. True manifestation begins not with the outer, but with the inner. To feel gratitude as if your desire has already manifested is to impress the unseen with the reality of your fulfillment. It is a conscious acknowledgement that your desire is no longer in the future but exists now in the realm of the mind and heart. When you cultivate this feeling, the universe is compelled to reflect it in the outer world. Gratitude for the end is more than polite appreciation. It is a state of being. It is a deep, resonant feeling that saturates your consciousness with the certainty of your desire fulfilled. Imagine the joy, the relief, the satisfaction that comes from having your wish realized, and allow that feeling to dominate your inner life. Do not focus on what is missing, on what is delayed, or on the obstacles in your path. Let your consciousness dwell entirely in the experience of already having received. When you do this, your mind ceases to struggle with lack and aligns with the creative force that governs all manifestation. The feeling of gratitude impresses the unseen with truth, and the world is forced to conform to it. Many fail to understand the power of this practice because they attempt to create through thought alone, without feeling. Thought without feeling is empty. It is only when the mind is saturated with the emotion of fulfillment that imagination becomes reality. Gratitude is the emotion that signals to the universe that the end is accomplished. When you feel thankful for what you have not yet seen, you are not pretending. You are acknowledging the eternal truth that your desire exists in the unseen, waiting to be experienced in the outer world. This is the law. The unseen is moved into manifestation by the feeling of certainty and thankfulness. Practicing gratitude for the end also changes your perception of life. You begin to see the world not as a place of struggle, lack, or delay, but as a mirror reflecting the state of your inner consciousness. Every circumstance, every encounter, and every opportunity aligns with the gratitude you hold. You no longer look to the outside world for validation because you have already assumed the end within. Life flows effortlessly. Doors open and conditions adjust themselves to match your inner reality. This is the natural law of creation. What you feel as true is what must appear. Gratitude accelerates manifestation because it eliminates resistance. There is no struggle when you are already thankful for what is coming. Doubt and fear dissolve, leaving only the certainty of fulfillment. The more consistently you inhabit this state, the faster the invisible becomes visible. The universe responds to the vibration of gratitude, aligning circumstances, people, and events to reflect the reality you have assumed. To live in gratitude, for the end is to live in the fulfillment of your desires now, to claim your blessing in the unseen, and to allow life to reflect it perfectly in the physical world. As we come to the close of this message, remember this truth above all: everything you desire is not a distant possibility. It is already done. The universe has moved in your favor, and all that remains is for you to claim it within. Your imagination, your faith, your assumption, your release of resistance, and your gratitude. These are the tools that bring the unseen into the seen. What you feel and believe as true in this moment shapes the reality that unfolds before you. There is no waiting, there is no lack, there is only the eternal, divine movement working on your behalf. So go forth with confidence, knowing that your desires are already accomplished in the invisible. Live in the feeling of the end. Trust the unseen and embrace the flow of life that is aligning perfectly for you. Every step you take, every thought you nurture, every feeling you cultivate now is the echo of what has already been established for you. The doors are open, the blessings are prepared, and the favor of the infinite has already been placed in your hands. Thank you for allowing yourself to receive this message today. May you walk in the certainty of your fulfilled desires. May your imagination guide you to the life you dream of. And may you always live in the knowing that it is already done. Thank you, and may your journey be filled with the realization of all that your heart has assumed. Beloved, I want you to hear this clearly today. God is moving things in your favor. Not tomorrow, not next week, now. You may not yet see it with your eyes. You may not yet feel it with your hands. But if your heart is tuned right, the confirmations are already all around you. Life often whispers in subtle ways. A door opens unexpectedly. Someone shows up at just the right moment. An idea sparks in your mind that changes everything. These are not coincidences. They are confirmations. The universe, in its infinite wisdom, is aligning circumstances in your favor. Understand this: favor is not earned by struggle alone. Favor is a reflection of your inner state. If you hold the feeling of having already received, if you live as though your desired outcome has already been realized, you are signaling to life that you are ready. And when you are ready, the world conspires to meet you. You might have faced setbacks. You might have wondered if your prayers or efforts are in vain. Let me tell you this: each obstacle you face is only a prelude to your confirmation. The very delay is preparation. The very challenge is positioning. God is not late. God is perfect in timing. Look for signs. They are everywhere. A repeated word, a sudden opportunity, a surprising conversation. These are confirmations that your dream is aligning with reality. When you notice these, do not dismiss them as coincidence. Receive them with gratitude and let them fuel your faith. And remember, favor is amplified through gratitude. When you are thankful not just for what you have, but for what is already yours in spirit, you magnetize more blessings. The feeling of gratitude pulls your desires from the invisible into the visible. So today, know this truth: the universe is conspiring for you. The forces of life are moving in your favor. Your dreams are not just possible, they are inevitable if you remain steadfast in faith and imagination. Live in the end, feel the victory, walk in the awareness of divine confirmation, and watch as the world rearranges itself to bless you beyond your imagination. This is your confirmation. God is moving things in your favor. Believe it, feel it, and receive it. True change in your life begins not with what you see, but with what you believe in the unseen. Most people wait for evidence, for circumstances to shift, for visible proof that their desires are attainable. But this is a reversal of the natural law. The world you experience is a reflection of your inner state. What you imagine, feel, and accept as real in your heart already exists in the realm of creation. Faith in the unseen is the invisible force that shapes the visible world. It is the recognition that what you cannot yet touch, see, or measure is no less real than what is right in front of your eyes. When you hold a vision with feeling, you are planting seeds in the fertile soil of your consciousness. These seeds grow silently, nurtured by your belief, until they manifest in your life as tangible reality. Your imagination is not a mere fantasy. It is the workshop of creation. and your feeling is the energy that fuels it. Every great invention, every breakthrough, every success story began as an unseen thought, a vision held with conviction, long before it became visible. When you understand this, you stop relying solely on external validation and start nurturing the invisible world within. Faith in the unseen requires patience and trust. It requires you to surrender the need for immediate evidence and to walk confidently in the reality you are creating internally. When you act as though your dreams are already true, your inner world aligns with the outer world. Circumstances shift, opportunities appear, and the world begins to conform to your inner assumption. The unseen is always at work, quietly orchestrating the events of your life in alignment with your inner belief. Doubt and fear are the greatest obstacles to this process. When you allow yourself to be swayed by what is lacking, by what seems impossible, you give power to the external world over your inner reality. Faith in the unseen is the refusal to be controlled by appearances. It is the steadfast belief that your imagination, infused with feeling, is a more trustworthy guide than the shifting circumstances around you. This faith is not passive, it is active and alive. It is cultivated through meditation, visualization, and the persistent assumption that what you desire is already yours. As you embrace faith in the unseen, you begin to notice subtle confirmations. Synchronicities appear, doors open, and life aligns in ways that seem miraculous. These are not accidents, they are the reflection of your inner state, the evidence of creation responding to your belief. When you live in this consciousness, you understand that your imagination is sacred, that your unseen thoughts are seeds of reality, and that the world you desire is already taking form within you. Faith in the unseen is the art of knowing without seeing, believing without proof, and creating without limits. It is the realization that your reality begins in the mind, grows in the heart, and manifests in life when you refuse to doubt the power of what is yet unseen. By holding your vision firmly with feeling and conviction, you become a co-creator with the infinite, and what once seemed impossible becomes inevitable. Whatever you assume to be true in your heart and mind becomes the foundation of your reality. Most people live at the mercy of appearances, allowing circumstances, other people, or past experiences to dictate what they believe is possible. But the truth is far deeper. Your outer world is a mirror of your inner convictions. Whatever you accept as real within yourself, whether consciously or unconsciously, inevitably manifests in your life. Your assumptions, those persistent beliefs and ideas you hold quietly in your heart, are the unseen architects of your destiny. To live consciously is to recognize that assumption is the secret language of creation. When you assume a state, an outcome, or a possibility as true in your imagination, you are planting it in the fertile soil of your subconscious mind. The subconscious does not argue or negotiate. It accepts whatever you impress upon it and works tirelessly to bring it into your experience. Therefore, it is not circumstances, luck, or external effort that determines the outcome of your life. It is the inner assumption you persistently hold. Your outer world is simply the reflection of what you assume to be true within. Many people make the mistake of focusing solely on what they see. They wait for the evidence, the confirmation from others, or the shift in circumstances before they feel that something is possible. But this is a reversal of natural law. True power lies in assuming the state of having, being, or achieving before it appears in the physical world. When you hold a firm assumption in your heart, you are sending an unspoken command to life itself. If the universe is compelled to organize itself in accordance with that inner reality. The practice of inner assumption requires discipline and clarity. You must observe your thoughts and beliefs, distinguishing between those that serve your desired reality and those that reinforce limitation. When you catch yourself doubting or expecting lack, you must immediately replace it with the assumption of fulfillment. Live as though the reality you desire already exists. Feel it in every fiber of your being. Speak as if it is already true. Move as though it has already manifested. In doing so, your outer world cannot help but conform to this inner state. Time, space, and external conditions are no obstacle to this truth. Inner assumption transcends what is visible and tangible. Even when circumstances appear contrary, the one who assumes correctly in their heart is never discouraged, for they understand that the world is an echo of the mind. Synchronicities, opportunities, and seemingly miraculous events are drawn to those who persist in the assumption of their desired state. Life itself bends to the steadfast convictions of the mind. The law is simple. Whatever you assume to be true in your mind and heart manifests in the world. If you wish to change your circumstances, you must first change your assumptions. If you desire favor, abundance, or joy, you must assume them inwardly with conviction. Your life will always reflect your inner world. Everything you see around you was first imagined, first assumed, first believed. When you take responsibility for your inner assumptions, you step into the true power of creation, and reality itself begins to align with your vision. There is a rhythm, a higher order at work in the unfolding of your life, and it is what we call divine timing. Many of us grow impatient when things do not happen according to our personal schedules. We measure success and progress by the ticking of the clock, by deadlines and immediate results. But true understanding comes when you realize that life is orchestrated according to a perfect, unseen intelligence, one that is infinitely wiser than any human plan or desire. Every event, every encounter, every seeming delay has its place within this higher order, and nothing occurs outside of it. Divine timing is not a delay, it is preparation. What may appear as a setback or a pause is often the careful alignment of circumstances, people, and opportunities to ensure that the outcome is perfect for your highest good. When you trust in this timing, you begin to see that what arrives at the right moment has far more power, impact, and fulfillment than what arrives according to impatience or haste. Life, when allowed to unfold in its natural rhythm, brings not only the right results, but the most harmonious ones. Impatience is the enemy of divine timing. When you try to force outcomes or rush processes, you interfere with the natural orchestration of events. It is like trying to accelerate the growth of a tree by pulling at its branches. The effort only disrupts what is meant to develop organically. Trust in the unseen intelligence behind your life. Trust that everything you need, every opportunity you require, and every blessing meant for you is being carefully arranged and will arrive exactly when it is meant to. Signs of divine timing often appear in subtle ways. A meeting that was postponed unexpectedly, a door that opens just after you have released your worry, a word or insight that comes precisely when it is needed. These are confirmations that the universe is aligning itself in your favor. These moments are never accidental. They are the echoes of divine orchestration. reminders that timing is never random. Even when the world seems chaotic or uncertain, the underlying order of life is always working to bring your desires to fruition. To live in alignment with divine timing requires faith and patience. It requires you to cultivate an inner stillness and confidence that all is working together for your good. It means letting go of the illusion of control and recognizing that your part is to imagine, assume, and act in faith, while the universe coordinates the perfect circumstances. When you surrender to divine timing, you no longer measure success by immediate results, but by the certainty that your reality is being shaped by forces far greater than your comprehension. Understanding divine timing transforms the way you experience life. You learn to see delay as preparation, setbacks as guidance, and waiting as a sacred alignment of events in your favor. When you trust in this perfect timing, life itself becomes your ally, and every event, no matter how small or seemingly inconvenient, is a step toward the fulfillment of your highest desires. Nothing is late, nothing is wasted, and everything is working for you. Life is constantly speaking to you, but most people fail to hear its subtle language. The universe communicates not always through loud announcements, but through quiet whispers, small coincidences, and gentle nudges that confirm you are moving in the right direction. These confirmations are signs that your inner state, your assumptions, and your intentions are aligned with your highest good. They may appear as unexpected opportunities, recurring patterns, sudden insights, or seemingly random events that, upon closer inspection, carry profound meaning. To recognize these signs is to live in harmony with the flow of life and to understand that you are never alone in your journey. Confirmation through signs requires awareness. When you slow down and observe the events around you, you begin to notice patterns that reveal the invisible hand of divine orchestration. A chance meeting may provide exactly the information you needed. A repeated number may appear at precisely the right moment, or an idea may come to you suddenly that shifts the course of your actions. These are not accidents or random occurrences. They are messages from the universe affirming that your inner beliefs are resonating with reality. Every small synchronicity is a reminder that the world mirrors your inner state and that your thoughts and assumptions are already manifesting in the external world. It is also important to understand that signs often appear in subtle ways, requiring faith and sensitivity to perceive them. They rarely arrive with fanfare. Often, a gentle feeling, a sudden thought, or a fleeting moment of recognition carries far more significance than the obvious or expected. By paying attention to these signals, you train yourself to trust the guidance of life itself. You begin to realize that each step you take, each decision you make, is supported and confirmed by an intelligent universe that seeks to bring your desires into manifestation. Repeated opportunities are particularly powerful as signs. When circumstances, people, or ideas keep returning to your life, they are signals that your inner assumption is being validated. These repetitions are confirmations that your path is aligned, that you are prepared to receive, and that the universe is responding to your persistent faith. Ignoring them is to overlook the guidance that is freely available to you. Accepting them, however, strengthens your confidence and reinforces your understanding that life is working on your behalf. Inner nudges, the quiet intuitions that arise from within, are equally significant. They are the voice of your higher self, pointing you toward action that aligns with your ultimate good. When you act upon these inner promptings, you are participating in the co-creation of your reality, moving in synchrony with forces far greater than your conscious mind alone can orchestrate. To live attuned to these confirmations is to walk with trust, gratitude, and awareness. Each sign, each synchronicity is a divine signal that your life is unfolding perfectly, that you are on the right path, and that your desires are already taking form in the invisible. When you recognize and embrace these confirmations, you strengthen your faith, accelerate your manifestation, and live in the constant awareness that life itself is conspiring for your success. Living in the end is the art of embodying the reality you desire before it appears in the physical world. Most people wait for circumstances to change before they allow themselves to feel fulfilled, to feel victorious, or to feel blessed. But this is a misunderstanding of how creation works. The external world is always a reflection of the internal state. To change your life, you must first live from the place of having already achieved your desire. When you imagine and feel the end result as real now, you are planting the seed of manifestation in the fertile soil of your consciousness. And the universe cannot help but bring it into your experience. To live in the end means to occupy the mental and emotional state of the fulfilled self. If your desire is abundance, do not wait for abundance to appear before feeling grateful. Feel it now. If your desire is recognition, act with the confidence, poise, and authority of the person who has already been recognized. If your desire is health, happiness, or favor, inhabit that state fully in your mind and emotion. The outer world responds not to your hopes or wishes, but to the reality you assume within. The act of living in the end is not fantasy, it is deliberate creation. Feeling is the engine of manifestation. Thought alone is limited, it is the combination of thought and feeling that gives birth to reality. When you live in the end, you immerse yourself in the emotional experience of already having what you desire. You see, hear, and feel it as though it is present. And in doing so, you impress it upon your subconscious mind. Your subconscious does not know the difference between what is imagined with feeling and what is physically experienced. It accepts your inner state as absolute reality and sets into motion the events, circumstances, and opportunities necessary to reflect it outwardly. Living in the end also requires consistency and faith. It is not enough to occasionally imagine or feel your desire. You must persist in that inner state regardless of what appears outside. Circumstances may seem contrary, and yet the one who lives in the end remains unwavering, knowing that the external world is merely a reflection in progress. Time, space, and apparent delay cannot alter the reality already assumed within. The feeling of fulfillment, victory, and blessing is your compass, guiding you through appearances until the external world catches up with your inner truth. Until this practice transforms the way you experience life. No longer are you at the mercy of events, waiting for external validation. Instead, you are the sovereign creator, defining reality from the inside out. By living in the end, you align yourself with the invisible forces that orchestrate all creation. Your actions, words, and choices naturally flow from the state of fulfillment. And this congruence accelerates the manifestation of your desires. To live in the end is to declare to the universe, I am already there. I am already blessed. I am already victorious. It is to carry the feeling of your fulfilled desire in your heart, in your mind, and in your actions every day. When you do this, the world cannot resist reflecting back to you the reality you have already assumed. Living in the end is the secret of all manifestation, the bridge between imagination and reality, and the path to experiencing your desires as though they are already yours. Gratitude is the invisible force that magnifies your blessings and accelerates the manifestation of your desires. Many people mistake gratitude for a polite acknowledgement or a fleeting feeling of thanks. True gratitude, however, is a deep, conscious recognition of the presence of abundance, favor, and opportunity in your life. It is the acknowledgement that all you desire is already in motion, even if it has not yet appeared in your external circumstances. And when you cultivate this state, you harmonize yourself with the creative forces of the universe, and your life begins to reflect the richness of that awareness. To express gratitude is to affirm the reality of what is coming. When you feel grateful for the fulfillment of your desires before they appear, you are sending a powerful signal to the subconscious mind. The subconscious cannot distinguish between what is imagined with feeling and what is experienced physically. It accepts the emotion of gratitude as proof that the desired outcome is already true. By living in this state, you create a magnetic field that draws the necessary people, circumstances, and opportunities to you. Gratitude is not passive, it is an active, creative force that multiplies your blessings and aligns your life with divine favor. The power of gratitude lies in its ability to shift your focus from lack to abundance. Most individuals are trapped in the mindset of scarcity, constantly measuring what they do not have rather than what is already theirs. Gratitude reverses this pattern. It draws your attention to the countless ways in which life is already providing for you, reminding you that you are supported by an infinite intelligence. As you focus on these gifts, your vibration rises, and the universe responds in kind. The very act of being thankful changes your inner state, and your outer world mirrors that state, bringing more of what you are grateful for into tangible reality. Gratitude also opens the door for unexpected favor. When you live in a state of appreciation, opportunities arrive that you could not have anticipated. Doors that seemed closed suddenly swing open. Solutions emerge where problems once stood, and people appear who carry exactly what you need. These blessings are amplified because gratitude creates a receptivity within you, a readiness to receive. It is the acknowledgement of unseen support and the recognition that life itself is conspiring to bring your desires to fruition. Practicing gratitude daily strengthens this power. Take time to thank life for what is present and for what is on its way. Speak it, write it, and feel it deeply. Thankfulness transforms your mental and emotional landscape into fertile ground for creation. Each expression of gratitude, no matter how small, builds momentum, reinforces your inner assumption, and accelerates the unfolding of your dreams. Gratitude is not just an attitude, it is a creative principle. It is the acknowledgement of favor that already exists, and the conscious invitation for more to flow into your life. By embracing gratitude as a way of being, you align yourself with the currents of abundance and favor, allowing life to move seamlessly in your direction. The more grateful you are, the more the universe mirrors that state, confirming that favor is not just possible, it is inevitable. As we draw this message to a close, I want you to carry this truth with you. God is moving things in your favor. Every delay, every challenge, every moment of uncertainty is part of a divine orchestration that is aligning circumstances perfectly for your highest good. Your faith in the unseen, your inner assumptions, your patience with divine timing, your awareness of signs, your ability to live in the end, and your practice of gratitude are not just principles, they are the very keys to unlocking your blessings and manifesting your desires. The universe is always responding to the state you occupy within. Live as though your dreams have already come true. Feel them, believe them, and watch life mirror the reality you hold in your heart. The confirmations are around you. Small synchronicities, repeated opportunities, and gentle nudges, all signaling that the favor of God is flowing toward you. Walk forward with confidence, knowing that you are supported, guided, and favored. Trust the process, honor the unseen, and continue to act from the place of victory. Your life is being arranged for your greatest good, and every step you take in faith brings you closer to the fulfillment of your desires. Thank you for allowing me to share this message with you today. May it strengthen your faith, ignite your imagination, and remind you that your confirmation has already come. God is moving things in your favor. My friend, listen closely. There is no accident in the timing of your life. You are not late. You are not behind. Everything that has seemed delayed has actually been divinely orchestrated to prepare you for the moment that is now unfolding. This, right now, is proof that divine timing is working in your favor. For too long, you have mistaken waiting for being forgotten. You've seen stillness as stagnation. But what if I told you that what looked like nothing happening was actually everything being arranged in your favor? The invisible hand of the divine never rushes, yet it never fails. It works in perfect rhythm, unseen by human eyes, but undeniable to the heart that believes. When you begin to align your thoughts with faith instead of fear, life shifts. Circumstances bend, people move, opportunities emerge as if out of thin air. Why? Because the outer world is compelled to obey the inner conviction of one who knows their time has come. Every season of silence has been sacred. The pauses were not punishment. They were preparation. What you prayed for could not come until you were ready to sustain it. The divine does not deliver promises prematurely, for premature blessings become burdens. Now can you sense it? The energy has shifted. The delays are dissolving. The peace you feel lately is not ordinary, it's confirmation. When your heart finds rest, even before the result, that is proof. Divine timing has begun to move. The signs have been subtle but certain. A random message that stirred your spirit, a sudden knowing that something is about to change, a dream that felt more real than the waking world. All of these are signals that your faith has reached the threshold of manifestation. You see, manifestation is never about force. It's about flow. When you stop striving and start trusting, the universe begins to deliver. And now, after all the waiting, the alignment has occurred. This is the moment the invisible becomes visible. What you once imagined is preparing to appear. Divine timing has synchronized people, places, and opportunities to meet you exactly where you are. So, lift your head, open your heart. Expect the call, the confirmation, the breakthrough. It is not coming, it's already here. The evidence may be invisible for a moment longer, but the vibration of fulfillment is already alive within you. The universe is not random. It moves with a rhythm, a divine precision that human logic cannot fully comprehend. Every event, every encounter, every pause, even the moments that appear as setbacks, are part of a perfect orchestration designed to guide your life toward its highest purpose. When you begin to understand that every delay and every silence carries intention, you stop seeing them as obstacles and start recognizing them as divine alignment. There are moments when life seems to stand still, when your prayers echo into what feels like an empty sky and nothing appears to change. You question, why is this taking so long? Why isn't anything happening? Yet behind that silence, the universe is at work. Invisible threads are being woven. People you haven't met yet are being positioned. Doors you didn't know existed are being prepared to open at just the right time. The delay is not rejection, it's divine coordination. You see, if the universe responded the moment you desired something, you might receive it before you were capable of carrying it. There are blessings that require maturity to handle, relationships that require growth to sustain, and opportunities that require preparation to succeed. Divine order ensures that what belongs to you arrives not only when you want it, but when you are ready for it. The waiting season, then, is not wasted time, it is a refining time. It builds patience, wisdom, and strength, qualities that keep you standing when your manifestation arrives. Think of nature's perfect timing. The seed does not sprout the moment it is planted. It remains hidden beneath the soil, seemingly lifeless, while in truth it is transforming. The darkness protects it, the stillness strengthens it. Then, when the season is right, it breaks through the surface, not a moment too early or too late. So it is with your life. You may feel buried, forgotten, or unseen, but in reality, you are being cultivated. The silence is the soil of divine ardor. The universe does not make mistakes. Every person who left, every opportunity that slipped away, every closed door was redirected energy. It was grace disguised as disappointment. That job that didn't hire you, that relationship that didn't last, that plan that fell apart, all of them were necessary redirections to bring you into alignment with something greater. When one door closes, it's because the divine plan has already assigned a better one to open, one that fits who you are becoming, not who you were. There is peace in understanding that life unfolds exactly as it should. You don't have to force outcomes or chase validation. You simply need to trust the timing and follow the inner guidance that whispers, all is well. The universe operates in perfection, never early, never late, always right on time. When you learn to rest in that truth, you stop resisting and start flowing. You realize that every silence, every delay, and every redirection was not punishment, but preparation for something far beyond what you imagined. That is divine alignment in motion. Everything in your life begins within you. The world you experience on the outside is nothing more than a reflection of the world you cultivate within. Your emotions, beliefs, and mental patterns form the blueprint from which reality takes shape. When you shift your inner state, your thoughts, your assumptions, your expectations, the outer world has no choice but to reorganize itself to match that new vibration. It is not magic, it is law. For most of life, people are taught to react to circumstances, to let conditions determine how they feel. But the secret is reversed. Your inner atmosphere determines your outer weather. If you live in a state of fear, the world will give you reasons to be afraid. If you dwell in gratitude, life will reveal more to be thankful for. The moment you change the energy within you, the universe begins to rearrange people, situations, and opportunities to mirror that transformation. Never forget, there is joy in dead life and peace underneath. Ani. This is why lasting change never comes from effort alone. It begins with awareness. The struggle ends when you realize that everything external is secondary. The real work is invisible. It happens in thought, in imagination, in belief. When you persist in a new inner state, peace instead of worry, abundance instead of lack, faith instead of doubt, you activate a spiritual law that brings your inner world into physical expression. What you hold as true within will eventually take form without. Consider how a seed contains within it the pattern of the entire tree. It doesn't have to struggle or strive to become what it already is in potential. Its growth is inevitable once the right conditions exist. Similarly, your consciousness is the seed. Whatever idea you plant and nurture through consistent attention and feeling must eventually sprout into experience. Life mirrors the gardener of thought. The outer world is not your master, it is your mirror. When you feel stuck or trapped by circumstances, it's often because your inner dialogue has not yet changed. You are rehearsing the same assumptions while expecting a new reality. The shift happens the moment you claim a new identity within. You stop saying, "I am waiting for things to change," and begin declaring, "I have changed, therefore things must." The outer reflects the inner by law, not by chance. There comes a moment when you realize that your imagination is not just fantasy. It is creation in its earliest form. What you picture and feel repeatedly with conviction begins to draw matching experiences into your life. You become the architect rather than the victim of your circumstances. The energy you carry within becomes a silent command that shapes events, attracts people, and opens doors. So the next time you seek transformation, don't rush to fix the outer. Go inward. Shift your focus from what's missing to what's already possible. Speak as though it's done. Feel as though it's real. When you embody the state of the person who already possesses what you desire, life must mirror that truth. The moment you shift within, the universe begins its work. The outer world reorganizes itself in obedience to your new consciousness, and reality unfolds as a perfect reflection of your inner awakening. Faith is not wishful thinking, it is spiritual knowing. It is the deep, quiet conviction that what you desire already exists, even before your eyes can perceive it. Faith sees through the invisible and calls it real. It is the bridge between imagination and manifestation, the invisible substance that shapes the visible world. When you believe in the unseen, you set in motion unseen forces that begin to prepare what you have believed. Many people misunderstand faith as hope, something fragile and uncertain. But true faith is not hoping something will happen. It is knowing that it already has, though it has yet to take form. It is confidence in the unseen order of the universe. a trust that what has been conceived in your consciousness must, by divine law, express itself in your experience. Faith is the evidence before the evidence, the unseen proof that creation is already complete on a higher plane. Everything that exists in the visible world was once unseen. Every invention, every achievement, every miracle began as a thought, a formless idea held in faith until it condensed into form. The same is true for the realities you are praying for. When you truly believe that what you desire is already yours, the universe begins to align circumstances, people, and timing to bring that unseen belief into physical manifestation. Faith is not passive. It is the active vibration of certainty. It is your spiritual signature that tells the universe, I have already received. Faith changes the atmosphere around you. When you walk in faith, your words, your energy, your actions all begin to align with what you believe. You no longer speak from lack, you speak from fulfillment. You no longer wait anxiously, you rest peacefully, knowing that divine timing is working on your behalf. The peace that comes from faith is often the first sign that manifestation is near. The moment your heart releases fear and embraces assurance, creation accelerates. Faith also requires detachment from the how and when. The mind always wants control, but faith allows the higher intelligence of life to orchestrate the details. When you believe deeply, you release the need to force results. You trust that everything is unfolding in perfect order. The unseen realm, which operates beyond your senses, is constantly arranging what you have believed for. While your eyes may see no progress, faith recognizes that the foundation is being laid. There is power in continuing to believe even when nothing around you validates your hope. That is the test of faith, to stand firm in the unseen until it becomes seen. Every doubt that arises is an invitation to choose belief again. Every delay is an opportunity to deepen your conviction. The unseen responds to fate like a seed responds to light. It grows in silence until it breaks through into visibility. So hold fast to your vision. Speak from completion, not from desire. The unseen is listening, shaping, moving. What you have believed for is not distant, it is developing. Faith is the invisible proof that your manifestation is already alive, already forming, already on its way into sight. Believe, not because you see it, but because you know it is already done. There comes a season in every life when movement seems to cease, when doors that once opened easily remain closed, when prayers seem unanswered and progress appears delayed. This is what many call waiting, but in truth it is not waiting. It is divine preparation. The waiting season is not a punishment. It is sacred. It is the quiet, hidden space where the unseen hand of divine timing works with precision and purpose. The delay is not a denial, it is a design. Divine timing is never slow. What appears to you as stillness is actually strategic movement. The universe, in its infinite wisdom, knows the exact moment when your promise should unfold. If you were to receive too soon what you are asking for, it might overwhelm you or slip through your fingers because you would not yet have the capacity to sustain it. The waiting season matures you for what you've been believing for. It strengthens your character, clarifies your motives, and refines your faith until you can hold what once could only be imagined. In waiting, life tests your alignment. It asks, do you still believe when nothing moves? Do you trust the promise even when there's no evidence? These are not questions meant to discourage you. They are the gentle chisels shaping your spirit for destiny. The most significant transformations happen not in the moments of manifestation, but in the moments of delay. Waiting develops wisdom. It teaches patience, surrender, and sensitivity to divine timing. The sacredness of the waiting season lies in what it reveals about you. In haste, you might rush to force outcomes, but in stillness, you learn that force is unnecessary when faith is active. Waiting trains your heart to rest, in assurance rather than anxiety. It quiets the noise of striving and makes space for clarity to emerge. Many people pray for blessings, but do not realize that blessings come with weight, and waiting builds the strength to carry that weight with grace. Think of a fruit that ripens too quickly. It may look ready, but its sweetness has not yet developed. Similarly, the blessings that come before their appointed time often come without the maturity to sustain them. Divine timing is the ripening of your destiny. It ensures that what you receive is not temporary but lasting, not fragile but fortified. It delivers your promise not in haste but in fullness. During your waiting, you are not forgotten. You are being prepared. The silence does not mean that nothing is happening. It means that everything is being aligned. The right people, opportunities, and moments are being placed in divine order so that when the appointed time comes, it will seem as though everything happened at once. So, honor your waiting. Do not curse it, bless it. For it is in this sacred season that faith deepens, strength solidifies, and destiny matures. When the divine finally unfolds what it has prepared for you, you will realize why it had to take time. The waiting was never wasted. It was the strategy of love, ensuring that when your promise arrived, you were ready to receive it fully. Before every major breakthrough, there are always signs, whispers from the divine that something is shifting, aligning, and preparing to unfold. These signs rarely arrive with loud announcements or dramatic displays. Instead, they come quietly, a conversation that confirms what your spirit already knew, a recurring number or symbol that seems to follow you, a sudden sense of peace in situations that once stirred anxiety. These are not coincidences. They are divine indicators that the unseen realm is organizing your breakthrough. But the forensic, unless it at least puts stop to anything, this life communicates through patterns. The divine speaks in synchronicities, those moments when everything aligns in perfect timing, even when logic cannot explain it. You might think it's random when you meet the right person by chance, or when an unexpected opportunity appears after months of stillness. But these are the early signs that the current of divine timing has begun to flow in your favor. They remind you that while you cannot see the full picture, something greater is weaving all the pieces together. And thus, we turn to this book. Before the visible manifestation arrives, the invisible begins to move. The energy shifts first within you. You feel lighter, more certain, more centered, even though nothing outside has changed yet. That inner peace is often the first and most powerful sign that your breakthrough is near. Peace is not passivity. It's a signal that your spirit has come into alignment with what's already yours. Once your inner world aligns with the vibration of fulfillment, the outer world begins to reflect it back to you. The divine never allows something to enter your life without preparation. That's why signs come before manifestation. They are gentle confirmations that your faith has reached maturity. They say, "You're ready now." You may notice a sudden increase in inspiration, creative ideas, or opportunities that feel effortless. The very atmosphere around you begins to shift, and the things that once seemed distant start drawing closer. These are not small things. They are evidence of divine orchestration. Many people overlook these signs because they expect something grand and obvious. But the divine often moves in whispers, not in noise. The coincidence that made you smile, the unexpected favor that relieved a burden, the intuitive nudge that led you to the right place. Each of these is proof that divine timing is active. When you pay attention to them with gratitude, you strengthen the connection and accelerate the unfolding of your manifestation. Breakthroughs do not arrive suddenly, they ripen. The signs are the early fruits, showing you that the tree of your faith is bearing results. The more you notice and appreciate them, the faster the full harvest comes. So when subtle confirmations appear, do not dismiss them. They are not random. They are divine breadcrumbs leading you toward the promise. When peace replaces worry, when coincidences multiply, when your inner knowing grows stronger, understand that heaven is signaling movement. These are the quiet proofs that divine timing is in motion, and your breakthrough is closer than you think. The signs are not the end. They are the sacred announcement that what you've believed for is on its way into sight. There comes a defining moment in every journey when something within you shifts so deeply that nothing outside of you can shake it. It is the moment when faith becomes certainty, when hope transforms into knowing, and when desire matures into conviction. That moment marks the arrival of your time. You no longer chase, you no longer plead, you simply know. And that knowing carries a power greater than any circumstance, greater than any delay, greater than any opposition. When your inner conviction becomes stronger than your outer situation, manifestation must follow. It is not optional, it is law. Every reality begins within the unseen world of belief. As long as you remain uncertain, reality reflects that uncertainty. But when your belief settles into conviction, when you know deep in your spirit that what you desire is already done, the universe has no choice but to rearrange itself to match that frequency. Life responds not to your wishes, but to your certainty. The outer world bends to the authority of your inner state. When conviction is born, resistance dissolves. What once seemed impossible begins to take form effortlessly. Think of conviction as a vibration that cannot be denied. It doesn't shout, it doesn't struggle, it simply is. When you dwell in this energy, you stop checking for signs and stop questioning timing. You begin to walk, speak, and act from completion. You no longer say, "It's coming," you say, "It's here." That shift in language reflects a deeper truth. You have already entered the state of fulfillment. The law of creation dictates that the outer must mirror the inner. Once you have become the embodiment of your desire and consciousness, it must manifest in your world. This is why inner work is everything. You can change the outer endlessly, move cities, switch jobs, meet new people, but until your conviction changes, your results repeat. The breakthrough comes not from action alone, but from alignment. When your thoughts, emotions, and assumptions agree with your desired outcome, life synchronizes with that new frequency. What was once effort becomes flow. What was once blocked becomes open. Your time arrives not by luck, but by alignment. When you finally stop doubting, stop comparing, stop waiting for permission, and simply decide that your promise is real now, you step into the vibration of manifestation. This decision is not arrogance, it is spiritual authority. It is claiming what has always been yours in the unseen and allowing it to crystallize in the seen. The moment you feel this conviction, everything changes. You sense it before it shows. You feel peace where there was tension, assurance where there was anxiety. That peace is the sign that creation is complete in the invisible. So walk as one who already possesses the thing once prayed for. Speak with the calm confidence of fulfillment. When your conviction becomes immovable, life must yield to it. You are no longer waiting for your time, it has arrived. Every event, every person, every opportunity is now aligning with your inner knowing. This is the law of manifestation in motion, as within, so without. When you know it's done, the universe agrees. Every moment of your journey, every delay, every silence, every sign has been leading you here. Divine timing has never failed you. It has been faithfully aligning every piece of your story into perfect order. You have come through seasons of waiting, testing, and believing, and now you stand at the threshold of fulfillment. The universe has heard your faith. Heaven has witnessed your persistence. And now the time has come for what was once unseen to unfold before your eyes. This is not coincidence, it is confirmation. The alignment is complete and your manifestation is no longer a promise, it is a reality in motion. Walk in gratitude, speak in faith, and move with confidence, knowing that divine timing is now working fully in your favor. Every door that opens from this point forward will not open by force, but by flow. Every opportunity that finds you will do so by design. So take a deep breath and know this. Your time has arrived. The waiting was sacred, the signs were sure, and the manifestation is inevitable. You are walking in divine rhythm, and life is now reflecting the strength of your belief. Thank you for listening to this message. May it remind you that everything unfolds in perfect timing and that the proof you've been seeking is already within you. Stay faithful, stay aligned, and remember, divine timing is not coming, it's here.